How you doing? This is Black Shy Guy here. I'm back again with a Weili Rose video, and it's almost here, UFC 261. And before we get there, we're gonna discuss what Rose said about Weili. Yeah, I'm kind of late, but unlike other people, I do a lot of research. All right, into what she said and why she said it, and to me, why it has no significance. I mean, it kind of, but it doesn't. And a lot of things she said, even in the Ariel interview, didn't make sense. I don't know if she's trying to find a drive to push her to basically make this fight way more important for her than it is actually for her, if you understood what I just said right there. Because remember, Rose had one foot out the door already. When she lost to Andrea for the first time, when she lost to Jessica the first time, she basically called it quits. All right? She came back, defeated Andrea. She basically got back into her rhythm. And I don't know if she's trying to find a reason to harness that eye of the tiger. And maybe this comment will do it for her, but it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And I'm going to tell you why. And I'm not sensitive like a lot of people. Just because she said the comment, I'm not nitpicking. I'm not, you know what I mean, judging her. But I just have my opinion about it. I mean, that's all. I just have my opinion about it and why it doesn't make sense, okay? Let's dive into the Ariel Hawani interview. His name is so hard to pronounce. Basically, and I'm basically gonna go straight into when she gets into that comment about the red comment, okay? So let's dive in, which starts at 9 minutes and 40 seconds, okay? So let's dive in. So she starts this interview, and it took about 9 minutes and 40 seconds for finally Ariel. You know Ariel was going to get into it because he's really direct. That's what I like about him, and that's why a lot of fighters hate him, because he really gets to the nitty-gritty of what everybody wants to talk about. And a lot of fighters find that annoying because a lot of fighters do get called out on their bullshit. And I like that about Ariel. He's willing to put his neck on the line, because a lot of times they can just punch him in his face. But he still asks the tough questions, and I love him for it. Look what he asks her, and let's dive into the conversation.
Really being able to sleep, and then the weeks after that it just kept getting better and better. But man, those tubes, the most.
Let's skip into the fight. I apologize for that. She gets into it right here in about 9 minutes and 40 seconds.
Commentary again, the other dream team, which you've talked about in the past, and you said, you know, your mindset going to this fight is better dead than red, which of course is a slogan from 50, 60 years ago about anti-communism movement, and you talked about what she represented and all that stuff, and this has obviously created some buzz online, and I'm curious if after seeing the buzz or after seeing the reaction to it, if you felt the same way, if you understood why it bothered people. What's your takeaway from the last couple of days since this has now gotten out there to the larger MMA public and the community?
Yeah, I'm kind of unaware as far as people's feelings about it, just because everybody has an opinion, but and nobody has to share the same opinion as me. But for me, and this is my opinions are based on my experiences. This is not something I looked up on YouTube. You know what I mean? This is an actual.
Let me comment about that, okay? And probably you guys might say I'm kind of nitpicking. Leave your thoughts down in the comments. I'm always willing to discuss, and I always comment on a lot of the comments that are made on my page. But she most likely looked up a couple of informations on YouTube. You understand what I'm saying? She wasn't alive when Lithuania was going through that horrific situation with the Soviet Union. You know what I mean? She wasn't alive, okay? She wasn't alive. Her great-granddad was alive. Her great-granddad went through a lot of situations. He even was killed. Who went through a lot of post-traumatic stress dealing with that situation was her father. Now, if she dived into what she was seeing through her father's actions, the fact that he couldn't sleep, the fact that he had a lot of trauma of what he went through, seeing his father possibly murdered in front of him or whatever the case may be, then it would have been better understood. But she doesn't dive into it. She's basically saying in this interview that she went through it, that she has a lot of post-traumatic stress or whatever the case may be, which doesn't make sense. I mean, it doesn't make sense. She obviously looked into the history and with what her family dealt with, because you didn't go through it. You were born in Milwaukee, Rose. You were born in Milwaukee. Like, I don't know what to say. Let's dive in.
Reference to a documentary. If you're confused about any of my opinions, you can watch the documentary and you can get a good idea as to what my family had to go through. The reason that I'm in the United States today, the reason that I do mixed martial arts, all of that stuff. I probably have a really different life if it wasn't for, you know, just everything in that documentary and how Lithuanians had to struggle with, you know, communism oppression. And so yeah,
you're gonna hear when she says basically she's going through trauma with the fact that her family dealt with communism. She's never went through it though. She's never went through communism. She was born in Milwaukee. She's had freedom all her life. Let me know what you think. Put your comments down in the comment section.
The reason that I brought it up and that I referenced it is because the reporter suggested that that I had animosity towards past opponents, and that I was, you know, that's what maybe caused some motivation in those fights, and that this one there's no animosity and therefore maybe there's a lack of motivation.
She's never made that comment before.
Further from the truth. Number one, I don't have any animosity towards anybody. Obviously I'm not perfect. I'm a sinner. I definitely have emotions. But
she's doubling down.
When I'm fighting, there's no emotions towards that person. It's just an outward manifestation of my inner demons that I have to deal with every day. And so that's number one. No animosity towards anybody. This is not directed.
Inner demons of what though? Inner demons of what? She has never dealt with communism. She has never dealt with that whatsoever. She's never dealt with it. I mean, I don't know. She's never dealt with it. She's never dealt with it at all. But for some odd reason, she's having like these past scenes or whatever she's talking about here. Well, let's dive in some more.
At Weili as a person, but at the same time, I'm motivated for this fight more than ever. I mean, this is my history.
Motivated, but she had to seek some reason to light her inner fire by making this comment. Okay.
This is where I come from, and these are the demons that I have to face every day. And so yeah, I don't know. That's just kind of how I feel about it. And if there's any confusion about it, watch the documentary. I really encourage people to do that.
Which is exactly what she did. She didn't go through it. She watched the documentary. And I understand her great-granddad went through it. But there's no way she faced some post-traumatic stress over the situation because she didn't go through it. Let's continue.
It's something that I'm very thankful for, because
she can be thankful.
Going
absolutely.
through all that and knowing all of the history and stuff, it reminds me of why freedom is so important, and especially in this day and age where, you know, my grandfather had to pass away in the hospital from COVID by himself, and people are dying alone in hospitals without their family members. And so for me, we should have the freedom to be able to be with our family. But you know, that's just my opinion, but it's
has nothing to do with communism though. When a country is, you know, a communist country, they're not gonna keep you from seeing your loved ones from dying. You know what I mean? If they're in their last breath, the government's not gonna say, hey, you can't see them. So I don't know where that's coming from.
based on facts and it's based on experience. It's not just something that I.
Experience. What experience did she have dealing with communism? She had no experience. She didn't deal with it. She hasn't dealt with it. She's only 24 years old.
That I came up with. So yeah, like again, I encourage people to, you know, reference the documentary for any
exactly
confusion.
what you did,
but
Rose.
like I said, I love Weili. You know, I don't know her, and so I know she wants to be friends and all that stuff. And it would be great to get to know her if it's possible. But I love everybody as a human being, and these are the experiences that I'm grateful for. Even the things that have been done wrong against me or anybody that I love. So yeah.
What was done wrong against her was her granddad was basically murdered, okay? I mean, we all have family members, great granddads, great grandmom that went through a lot of situations back in those years when it was terrible. Whether your family came from a communist country, whether your family was involved with racism back in the days or whatever the case may be, but you're not dealing with some post-traumatic stress over it. You hearing your history, you're respecting what your family went through. You're not gonna go through some type of drama. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Put it down in the comments. I'm willing to hear your opinions.
Yeah, that's it.
When you say demons, Rose, what do you mean by that? Do you mean your own personal demons or your country's demons? What do you say that? Because obviously that's a strong word.
I love how Ariel just dives in.
I think everybody has a certain level of PTSD or just, you know, past experiences that kind of trigger them and you know, haunt them like in the present moment. But really, you know, in the current present moment, everything's great. You know, I have freedoms and I am grateful for the freedoms that I have. But every once in a while, yeah, I have to battle demons of, you know, is somebody trying to control me? Is somebody trying to tell me what to do?
Where is this coming from? She hasn't dealt with communism. Do you understand what I'm saying? She hasn't dealt with it. Yes, she has seen her father go through a lot of stressful situations. She couldn't sleep at night, etc., because of what he went through. But that was her father. If she's going through it by seeing what he's experiencing after what he went through, it's understandable. But she's basically talking like she went through it. Like she physically was there when Lithuania was going through all of that drama with the Soviets. You know what I mean? There's no way she was around for that. They were liberated in 1949. They were liberated. They were free after that.
Is somebody trying to constrict, and that's my personal, like, you know, one of my number one.
She was born in Milwaukee, in the U.S., okay? In the U.S., Milwaukee. Come on now. I'm a 70s baby, and I had a lot of freedom. How did she face any type of communist being raised in Milwaukee, born in Milwaukee?
On top priorities, but other people have, you know, certain demons, like they're afraid of, they just want to be safe. They want to be, or they just want to be happy. For me, freedom is one of the
makes
top
no sense here.
Things. Safety kind of comes underneath that. You know.
She's reaching. I'm sorry for pausing a lot, but she's just reaching. She's trying so hard to basically make us understand why she made that comment.
Obviously, it's just a juggling act, and so I think that's kind of what I mean by that.
I think if I can put myself in other people's shoes, what they took issue with was I don't think Zhang has really talked about politics.
Go ahead, Ariel.
And so I think when you say like she represents this, you're like, well, she doesn't really speak about these things. So how do you know what she represents, and why did you put her in that box, so to speak? Do you understand why people would feel like, well, maybe she's not someone who believes in these things? Just because she comes from there doesn't mean she necessarily believes these things. So maybe that was something that shouldn't have been, brought up. Why mix the two if she's never openly? Maybe I've missed it, but maybe she's never.
Let me make this comment, okay? Even if Weili even if Weili has basically accepted that her country is a communist country, and she has learned to live with it like that. Because remember, when you're born a certain way, you're used to the government telling you what to do, how to do this, how to run your business. Because communist goes further than just basically running things. There's a lot that is involved with communism, okay? And China has always been a country like that. Always, okay? And even if Weili has learned to live her life that way, what business is it of yours? What business is it of yours? If Weili decides, you know what, my country is a communist, but I love my country, I've been born and raised there, my whole family's there, I'm used to it. Just because your country went through a communism, which has nothing to do with China, because I understand she was fighting somebody from the Soviet Union, which is understandable, and she makes that comment. It just makes more sense. But at least from China. She's from China. So what if she learned how to live in a country that is basically ran by the government?
You know, because she's never talked about it. Why bring it up?
So she's just assuming.
Yes, that is true, and I don't know what her beliefs are, but here's the thing is that, and this is a question maybe that we should ask her or whatever, but can we really even know what she actually believes, or and
it's none of our damn business. It's none of our damn business what she believes in. It's none of our damn business. If she believes in communism or capitalism, it's none of our, it's not my business, it's not your business. Weili has experienced communism, right? She has come to the US. She's trained in the US. She stayed months in the US. So now she's seen how much freedom the US has. So Weili has way more experience than Rose dealing with communism and being in basically a free country that basically everybody can own their own business, private owned, etc., without the government being involved. Weili has more experience with dealing with both. Rose only has one experience, but she's talking like she knows more. So it just boggles my mind. Her comment doesn't make sense.
From my experience, or not from my experience, but you know, she may be being told what to say. You know, I don't know.
You're assuming then. You're assuming. She's assuming. Am I wrong? Am I wrong here? She's assuming. You're gonna say she's being told what to say. How do you know? How do you know?
And do we know exactly what she believes?
No, because she hasn't talked about it. I understand where you're coming from. Do you regret saying any of this?
No. Yeah, I mean, for me, like,
see what I'm saying? Rose makes no sense.
Like, and from my experience, you know, being with communism, like, from what.
When? Tell me the date. Tell me the date. And where you were that you dealt with communism. When? They're free, you know that. They were liberated. Long time ago, before she was even born. When? When did she deal with it? When? She was born in Milwaukee. She went visited a lot of times, yes. But she's never dealt with it. I wish Ariel would have dived into that and said, when did you deal with communism? I would love to know that. You know where you were born at, Rose?
What I know is that you can't freely have an opinion. You can't criticize your government. I can talk about America and how imperfect it is, and how,
because you were born in Milwaukee.
There's just lots of things messed up about us and stuff like that. And I'm very grateful for that freedom to do so.
A freedom you always had since you were born.
You know, I know she's spoken very highly of you. I remember when I spoke to her last year after her fight, she said she wanted to fight you. This is before the Andrade fight, because she respected you as a martial artist and whatnot. Once this fight is over and done with, is this a relationship that you are interested in having, or are you the type of fighter who you like to stick to your team and that's it. You don't like to, be buddies with everyone. Is this something that is?
All right, this is when the interview gets kind of ridiculous. Honestly, it just kind of gets ridiculous and redundant. The questions gets like it just gets. But you see what I'm saying? Okay, she's basically saying, right, that, you know what I mean? Better dead than red, right? She's never dealt with communism. Weili has dealt with both. Still kept the political issues aside, and has not brought it into the media when it comes to her fight with her. For some odd reason, Rose needed to light her in a fire with this comment. For some odd reason, don't know. And as you can see, she mentioned that, well, who knows what she's thinking? Maybe she's being told what to say. In what way does that inner fire in you to fight her make her some sort of enemy that you have to defeat? Can somebody answer me that? Can somebody put it down in the comments? How? In what way? Let me repeat it. In what way does Weili deciding to accept living in a country that is a communist make her an enemy? And I know a country were ran by the Soviets, okay? They were ran. They were being told what to do, whatever the case may be. Point number one, she never went through it. Her family went through it, okay? Her family went through it. She's never experienced it. Let me say it again. She was born in Milwaukee. Am I wrong here? And like, her comment just doesn't make sense. It has no backbone, has no meat to it. It has no meat to it. It just doesn't make any sense. And Ariel dug at her, you know what I mean, with that question he made. And you seen how she stuttered. It was like she was just trying so hard to find a reason, a suitable reason to why she made that comment. It just boggles my mind. Why does it matter to you whether Weili is satisfied living in a communist country or not? But in what world do you live in, Rose? I mean, are you that devoid of this fighting spirit that you need to seek out any type of reason to fight? Being the best alone should drive you. You lost the belt. Now you need to get it back. That should be your ultimate motivation. Seeking this unknown motivation that didn't make any sense, that basically made you like an enemy of the state, because yes, some people are too overly sensitive, but I can understand their opinions about your comment. Your comment just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't. Well, there you have it. That's my thoughts about the comment. 261, I will have a video on each fight on how the results went and why, my opinions on why whoever won or whatever the case may be. Also, take a look at my other videos on the channel. This is Black Shy Guy. I really appreciate the support. And hit that like button if you really enjoyed the video. Hit that subscribe, hit blah, 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 blah. Hit that subscribe button for any upcoming new videos. I really appreciate it. This is Black Shy Guy. I'm out of here. Peace.